Okay, here we are looking at the doll that goes on the chair, and I finished sewing her up. I used some antique shell buttons that were part of the buttons I brought back from Finland, my collection there. And you can see I've used kind of a peachy color. I tried to get as close to my own kind of skin color as possible because this is supposed to be me, or a representation of me. There's a magnet in her butt that helps hold her where she needs to go. And now I am in the process of trying to figure out. I originally wanted this pattern for her dress, but now I'm beginning to rethink it in that it's too much color. I am a great fan of ginghams. These are not true ginghams, in that these are printed. It's printed on rather than woven. True ginghams are woven, not printed. Like this fabric you can see here, where it's got the warp and the weft are both two different colors. That would happen here, but it hasn't because it's printed on, which makes it a much less expensive fabric. And there's part of me that so wants to use this fabric, but I don't think it's gonna work. I mean, objectively, I think it could work, but there's a part of me that, as the designer of this, I know that I have a lot of pattern and a lot of things going on, especially in this area. There's very little that isn't adorned with something. So when you, and when I say designer, I'm talking as graphic designer self. I don't want to pull away from this patterning by throwing in another pattern like this. Which then leads me to, well then, should I use a pattern at all? And this, while being a pattern, also adds in white, because we can see here the white flowers. One of the reasons why I feel like these flowers pop so much is because of the intensity, the hues that I put around it. And here, it's different from the orange. I already chose this light green here. And the reason I chose that light green is because of the side of the box already had it there. So that's why. Oh wow, it says handmade. Okay. There's another one inside that says handmade too, so I was kind of like that. So this, while still a pattern, and a geometric pattern at that, I feel will work better because it adds in more white. It's only this shade of green, a tint of it, and then white. Whereas with this, I'm dealing with a lot more color and a lot more all over. Does that make sense? Also, the question is, well, then why won't you use a floral with this? No. First of all, these florals do not have the same. Yes, they're both florals, but they're both very different. This is far more of like a watercolor soft sort of thing. If I'd done something like this, more of a watercolory background, instead of a very bright, vivid sort of color coming through. Here's another floral. This is getting a little closer, but for a confined space like this and a doll this size, that's not going to work. If it were a doll that were maybe 1, 2 times bigger, yeah, no problem. But this is too small. Okay, let's go with a tiny floral. One of these ones that kind of mimic a Liberty sort of thing. It could work. It's in the color. It's doing the same thing where we have the tint and the shades of kind of this teal color with an accompanying white. That could work. Then, look at something like this. This is a possibility too. But then you put that peachy color next to the peach, doesn't fly. Okay. I've got these colors in here. Why can't I use this? Again, the pattern is too large and it's too much pattern. It's too much. You can see that there's squares in it, but there's a lot going on. Does that go with, I would think arguably I could probably make these two work together, but no, I won't. This has got some cute colors in it. It's rainbowy. Not gonna work. This one that I just found that I'm absolutely in love with, I'm gonna save for another doll. It's too dark in here for that. So as much as I love this fabric, I'm gonna save it for something else. And I think that these two will work. Again, I'm working with this is a very tomato orange. It's a very intense tomatoey red orange, and a yellow seat and a peach body. I like that this green kind of cools it off a little bit. And I think that this will work. And it also works within, I don't know how I say this, within my already established visual canon. If you know what a canon is. Gingham prints are something that show up in my work a lot. And squares. It's kind of a bizarre fascination, and I'll talk about it another time. But for this purpose, I think this will work better. And there is, like I said, reference, it's within my canon that will work. Because the reason I chose that when I saw this and I bought this fabric is because it reminded me of a dress I had as a child that I absolutely adored and was a little heartbroken when I grew out of it. It was one of those I think it was a hand-me-down dress, and I loved the dress so much, and I got to wear it for about a year, and I was kind of that stage between like 8 and 10 where your body's doing all kinds of weird stuff. I didn't necessarily go up much, but I was becoming more girly looking. I'm starting to get some curves. The puberty was beginning by 10, and I couldn't wear this dress anymore. I couldn't even wear it as a shirt anymore because it wouldn't fit around my chest. So that's the reason I chose this. But again, this is still within the canon, and part of that goes back to dolls that I had before. Oh, there it is. Okay. The ginghams are popular. My favorite doll, as many of you may know already, was a Fisher-Price doll. Her box name was Audrey. And she was my favorite doll, and I named her Cindy, and she had red hair and freckles, and she wore a little pair of overalls that I thought were just the cutest thing ever. And she was called a lap sitter doll, which meant her head and her hands were like a hard moldable plastic. One piece, eyes didn't move or anything like that. It was the height of what you would call like vintage classic Fisher-Price. They were making some really good toys for children, for inventive play sort of thing. And I had 3 of these dolls that I absolutely adored. And for Christmas 1975, my grandmother Wilma made me an outfit for Cindy because she needed a dress. She made it out of much, much smaller gingham, green and white gingham, and it had a little hat, like a little bonnet, and it was a little wraparound dress. And I have, in just talking about this, I'm all of a sudden, Christmas 1975, 76, whipping around the front room with a little doll stroller with Cindy in there. Because I want to say I got Cindy for my 5th Christmas. And then, anyway, this'll work now. There's even a tighter sort of thing there. So yes, this is what I'm going to use. I'm also thinking about that strawberry fabric, and I don't think I can work that in, but we'll see. Who knows? So today I'm going to be working on a dress for the main piece, and then also what's going into the box that will be coming out of the box. And while I am doing all of that, I'm going to be taking, where'd it go? This fabric, because I need to go wash these. I always wash my fabrics before I use them. And I'm going to be putting that inside this drawer. So there's the main reason that I want something with fabric on it is that it's a little softer, so there won't be so many scrapes. Plus, I think it'll look nicer. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today. Okay, it's going to be 30 degrees today. Let's see if I can pull this off.